Today we're going to be talking about how to build a mobile game in world record time. In just over 20 minutes, we can go from literally nothing to a real, actual native game on both iPhone and Android. I am a New Yorker who now lives in San Francisco for about 2 years. I'm the founder and CTO of Native. We do social media optimization for Facebook, helping brands and publishers identify what engages and what doesn't. I'm a side project enthusiast. I build lots of things in my spare time and try new technologies, which actually led me to RethinkDB, where I built a side project that's just an engagement platform called Updatera that basically just sends people notifications without spamming them, which we use internally and anybody else can use if they want to as well. And also, I built a mobile game on Horizon and React Native, which led me to do this talk. And remarkably, it was pretty easy, and it took me about a weekend to figure out, and is actually live on the App Store. If you want to play with it, we can talk about it afterwards. But this is kind of the experience that I did to build the game and kind of just show you how the developer experience works and why it's awesome. How are we going to build it? There are 4 pieces. So for those of you who don't know, React is basically a front-end framework that allows you to render things very easily. It does things in a stateless manner, so you don't have to worry about changing the DOM too much. It automatically does it. React Native just takes React and puts it on a device. So it does it to just Android and iOS right now, but it allows you to kind of build on top of the native features you love, like maps and all the buttons and various things. So it's definitely not a mobile website. It is 100% a real deal. RethinkDB. Awesome. Actually, less hands than for the other ones. All right, cool. So RethinkDB. It's a really cool, awesome database that allows you to do many things. What attracted me most is this concept of change feeds, which is instead of polling a database where you say, hey, give me this set of data, and then you check to see if it's new, it will literally give you the newest value as it gets inserted into the database, and not only tell you the new one, but also tell you the old one, because it's super handy and nice. That's what got me into it, but I actually stayed for everything else. It's horizontally scalable. Has a really, really nice installation, really, really nice dashboards. Overall, as a database, it's super solid. And then Horizon, which Mike kind of gave a quick intro before, but Horizon is a layer on top of that is kind of like a parse Firebase kind of alternative. I wouldn't say clone because it's actually very different in a lot of respects, but it gives you the same kind of feel of you don't have to write a single thing on the back end. And you can do a lot of things on the front end. It provides a bunch of different tools and mechanisms, and I'll kind of show you as we go along kind of what that entails and how that goes along. So it's a few different pieces. One, it is open source. It's kind of one of the things of RethinkDB, one of their core tenets. 2, it's aiming to be a complete backend solution. Things like users, authentication, like document management, geography, stuff like that. It's aiming to be like the whole kind of the core that you need, but also at the same time allow you to extend it, put it into your own Koa servers or Express servers, and allow you to kind of get your custom functionality that you need while building on top of the core that everybody uses, like image processing, the same stuff that you write over and over and over again that I'm sure we are all sick of as being developers for more than a year. It is super new. It just got released to public beta, or public preview. Sign up, horizon.io. It's pretty awesome. A few people who make it are here. You'll hear from him shortly. Cool, so what are the parts of Horizon? There are 3. The Horizon server, this is the actual code that runs on your box wherever you want to host it. It is built on Node.js, and it is basically a proxy between the database and your front-end code. It does a lot of other stuff, but you basically run it as you would any other process, and it handles everything that you need to do. The Horizon client, this is the fancy, cool library that you put in your application that gets you all of the power to connect to Horizon and take care of all the hard parts for you. So this is what we're going to be installing on our front end of our project to integrate and kind of talk to the back end. Which this is actually brand new, is the CLI, which actually gets you started really quickly and nifty. There's no weird installations or build your own packages. It's just HZ init, and then you're off to the races. So, again, it makes your life super easy. Tries to let you do as little as possible, which is what I love. I would love to do nothing and have everything built for me. That'd be great. So there's a few things that I did before this. I cheated, so it's not actually 20 minutes. npm install -g horizon. This gets you your command line. This brings in everything that you would need to get going. hz init, tic-tac-toe. So surprise, we're going to be building a really old game that we've probably all played way too many times, but it's really fun and interactive. So we're going to be building tic-tac-toe. So it's a hz init tic-tac-toe. And then to run your server, you say hc server tic-tac-toe --dev. So obviously you wouldn't do --dev in production, but what that does is it kind of does the magic of creating all your tables, auto-creating indexes, stuff like that. So as you're developing, you don't have to be like, oh, turn on migration or like anything like that. It kind of just handles that for you. It also disables things like SSL and other things that you probably should think about if you're going to production. So it's really handy. It will also start both Horizon and RethinkDB if you want it to. And it requires the 2.3, I think 2.3 is launched? 2.3 is launched, so it's not a preview anymore. Yay. But yeah, it requires 2.3. And then a few more things that I did was npm install -g React Native CLI. So this is what gets me going with the front end. React Native init, tic-tac-toe, and then we're going to be opening it up in Xcode. So besides having all those commands, which are here, that was pretty much all of the back end. And we'll kind of go over what that looks like. I wish that this could get bigger on this side, but hopefully you guys can see it a little bit. But here is the backend server. You'll see the source folder is actually empty. There is no backend, so that's done. Awesome. We're 3/4 of the way there. So we're going to do a little bit into how React Native works and kind of get a lot of the front end out of the way. But right now, what we're going to do is we're going to open up Xcode and press run, and it will go build, 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 build. And in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to go over and go into our iOS. Ooh, a little too big. Okay, so this is our iOS index file, this is basically what starts the application. This is your index.html of your React Native version for iOS. They give you one for Android and iOS so that you can actually do things a little differently because they are different platforms and things vary, and you have to be kind of a little bit careful about that. But for the iOS one, we're going to see we have imported a game view, which is right here. And we're actually going to go and do the game view skeleton. And then we're going to render the view, and then you should see it in the simulator. All right. In the simulator, that is actually live reloading. So every time you make updates within React Native through their development environment, it'll automatically update here, so you don't have to close and open the iOS simulator, which is if you built an iOS game, you know that's probably the dread of your existence. And if you built an Android and you haven't already jumped off a bridge, it's pretty awesome. There's also a really cool thing in Command D that you can actually have a Chrome debugger tab open and debug your JavaScript like you would any other cool web app. So it's pretty nifty. It has your inspectors and all your other fun stuff like that. But we're going to go into the game skeleton and actually work with our friend here to make a game. So currently we have about 200 lines of code, and this is a lot of it is like your style sheets, which are CSS-esque and boring. We have our HTML views here. It's not exactly HTML, it's HTML-esque. The view here is not like a div. You can't use like divs or anything like that, but there are divs. They're actually just like views in iOS or containers in Android. So they kind of just have to take that paradigm a little bit, but the learning curve is really, really, really like super easy. So you'll pick it up pretty quickly. But it consists of a few different things. We have a text field, which is right here, which is your standard text field. We have a button, and then we have radio buttons, which are here and here. We have our fancy board game tic-tac-toe grid, and then you have a reset button. And what that looks like in, where'd it go? The simulator is this thing right here. So you have a bunch of buttons that don't do anything, and but all in all, it took me 5 minutes at home, but here in the magic of this thing, we have it in about 10 seconds. And so now we can actually start programming the fun parts and all the interactions and get that kind of working. And we'll do that start to finish. Cool. So we're going to go through, and there's a few functions here that we're going to have to fill out. But we're going to start with our component will mount function. So this is the first thing that happens when your app is booting up, and this is like the first step. It's like component will mount, and then it mounts, and then it did mount. There's all the different things, but this is where we're actually going to create our Horizon connection and say, hey, this view, we're going to start connecting to our database. So we're going to say this.horizon equals horizon, and then that's it. So Horizon here, I actually imported up top. So the Horizon library, you can actually install through npm, and then it gets bundled in like everything else, and you can actually require it as such. So you have Horizon here, and at that point we say, all right, Horizon, we have our connection. It maintains all the WebSocket stuff. It automatically defaults to your local host. If you want to have some place on the internet, you can say host 54.3223, whatever, and actually connect it to a remote host, which is what happens in production. But for development, that's all you need. So the way that tables work, the way if you want to think about it, is you kind of have like a collection that is in Horizon. So you make it like this. So we're going to have a games collection, and it have it's this.horizon games. So this is like our view or transportation or magic to the actual games like collection within RethinkDB. You don't have to have this here, save it as a variable. I like to do it because it makes my life really easy, and I can think of this games object as kind of like a DAO in your backend. It kind of makes life really, really simple. That's it. So right there, we've set up all of our networking. We've set up all of the WebSockets. We've set up all the triggers to do 90% of the hard work. And now we can actually start getting into our game logic itself. So let's go in and actually join a game, right? So joining a game basically is a two-step process. We first want to see and find a game, and then or create it. In this case, since we're lazy, we're not going to find one. We're just going to basically create a game and just make a new one. So if anybody else is there, we'll just basically like sabotage it. But we're basically just going to create a game and get ready for somebody else who would also join it to join in with you. So we're just going to kind of save a handler to ourselves because it's JavaScript, and then you say this.games. So this is our kind of game collection here that we've saved up above, and we're going to say store, and this is a regular RethinkDB object. So if you don't give it an ID, it will auto-create you a GUID and give you back the ID. But for us, we're going to kind of say the ID is going to be the name of the game that we want to join. So if you look on text change of our text field, we actually just set it to the state. The state here in React is basically just like, what are the params for this view? So it's just like a collection of different variables that makes life really easy. So we say, So we're going to say store this .state .game name, and then we're also going to say the board is this is going to be new game. New game here is a 3x3 is a 2-dimensional array of strings that we can fill with X's and O's that will be persisted on our database server and is our representation of the world. So that's as far as it goes in terms of saving an object. So store here creates it and actually sends it across the wire, and will kind of give you back the response of what happens. So you can say for each, or for the lazy, this will also do just one. You can say return or result, and then we have the error case as well. And in this case, we'll just say console.log error. And in the result case, let's actually join the game. So now that we've created the game here, we can actually, so the join game handler was when you press the button, it's like, all right, let's actually make the game on the database. And I made join game to be, all right, let's actually like monitor the game, see what happens, and react to everything that happens within the actual game on the database. So this is where 90% of the magic happens, and kind of one of the reasons that attracted me to Horizon the most. So remember the concept of change feeds, like I was talking about RethinkDB in the past? So now that we've created our game, let's kind of go ahead and join it. So this is going to be pretty simple. So again, let's just save a reference to ourselves and say this.games. And we're going to say we're going to find the game that we just saved. So we're going to say, hey, we found it. And let's make it a little prettier. So we're going to find it. And then what we're going to say watch. So this is like the subscribe. So this is basically going to say, hey, give me the change feed for this game. So whenever this game changes, update it and let me know what happens. So so similar to the save below, we say for each change, right? We're going to say this is the new representation of the game. We're just going to say, hey, let's write a console.log, new version of game. And then we're going to set the state of our current state to be the board of the new game. We're going to use underscore this for the time being. I apologize. Yeah, so this basically will take the state of the game as it changes on the back end and manifest it on the front end. Let's kind of, as this checkpoint is now, let's kind of go ahead and see if we didn't break everything. As you can see, it's been live updating in the past and has kind of not liked what I've done. So an unexpected token on line 96. So let's see what happens here. There we go. All right, so we got our game back going here, and let's go to the debugger real quick. All right, so now when we go ahead and enter the game, store of undefined. On line 106. All right. All right. So at this point, we're going to go back to our debugger here and actually, let's get it. Ooh, that's hockey. All right. So when we say testing here and join the game, you will see that that we both make the new game here, we join the game testing, and it received the new state of the board, right? So the board here is our ID of testing and our board like we saved here. So if you think about it, what we did is a round trip. And it's kind of hard to imagine here in such little code. But a lot of what we did here is we actually stored the game, joined the game, and then received the new change feed from the server back. So we never actually updated our own state, like in like some optimistic setting, or like figuring out, like did this thing work or anything like that. Like the nice paradigm here that I enjoy to use is that we actually receive pretty much the entirety of the state from the backend server, and only reflect our current state from that. So for example, if we made a change that got rejected from the back end, nothing would happen on the front end that would like be in an inconsistent state. Both in player A and player B will be in the exact same state, which makes it both 1, easy to program, and 2, easy to reason about, and 3, fair for both players if you had a more complex game like that. Cool. So now the last part here is we're actually going to what happens when you click one of the pieces. So in the simulator, when you click one of these cells, what happens? So this is like the most of our code. So we're basically going to have a handler here on each of the cells, and when a cell gets clicked, we're basically going to say, hey, take a clone of the existing board state, we're going to change the column and row of the board, and we're going to say this.games replace. So it's not it's basically the equivalent of storing because we specified the ID, but this is basically going to say take the existing state of the board and put it into the database with this new state that we have, and that's it. Now, if you notice here, I didn't actually update the state of the client locally. I'm letting Horizon handle that. It's actually going directly to the server, updating it in Rethink, and then on the way back, it will come back and say, oh, this changed, and then it'll render itself. So I don't have to like worry about changing the state on all that stuff I talked about earlier. You can just go ahead and do it. And as you can see in the simulator, and you can start playing with things. This reset here, this reset button is exactly the same concept as I store the other thing with our new game, and it goes back. So quickly here, we'll kind of just go into the reset game, and as you'd expect, this.games.replace ID and the board is a new game, and you're all done. So the live demo broke, but the pre-written code only takes about 82 to 126, so 40 lines, and you get full round trip multiplayer game. And to kind of show this off at on kind of both devices here, let me reset the game, and we're going to bring up our Android friend. We're also going to join the game. He's going to be X, and she's going to be the O. Testing. All right. And then, so you'll see, hopefully, if everything works. Let's pray to the live demo gods. You press O, and it went back to the server, updated the server, told both things to come back, and you got your O. And then X will make their move, and it'll be propagated both ways. And that's the core tendency of the game. Super easy, and to achieve that in 40 lines of code is like crazy to me. But that's what makes programming fun, especially in 2016. So thanks for all the hard work, you guys. It makes life awesome. We kind of showed off a few of the different commands here. One of the kind of the core tendencies of Horizon is that it's not requel. This was by design, and it's kind of just give you what you need to feel natural in the JavaScript environment. So you have things like above, below, fetch, find all, limits, orders, etc. And these will allow you to kind of do most of what you need to do, pretty much all of it, within the client end, and you can kind of write it in a very easy way that any JavaScript programmer can pick up very simply and run with. It's built on top of some popular libraries that most people know, and it should make life pretty easy. Features that are coming soon and or if they're already out, things like authentication, identity, GraphQL, which will be really cool because that'll allow you to actually just query things that you need to without actually doing the whole change feed or find kind of thing. Geolocation, presences, plugins, and as I said, embeddable, so you can actually put this Horizon into your existing Node app and you can take advantage of all of it without having to like have its own microservice somewhere else. All of that and probably a lot more as the community kind of chimes in to see what they want and go from there. It can't all be perfect because nothing ever is, but it's actually pretty good. So kind of just some pros and cons that I've found going through it. The pros, it's open source, pluggable, embeddable, extendable, which is really important, especially when there are things like bugs that happen to everybody. It's great to be able to see it and go in. One of the things that I very, very, very highly value is that it's company supported. They're really good people, and they stand behind their products. And it's nice to know that it's not just like going to die off in the woods somewhere. It will be around here for a little while, especially with the excitement that we've seen and also kind of just like where the industry is going. So I'm excited to see that it's there and they'll be there to help when needed. The cons, it's self-hosted for now. I was just kind of talking with Mike about some of the new stuff that's coming out. It's going to be awesome in a few months. Right now, it's not hard to put up in a single box. If you had more than probably a couple thousand users, I would probably talk to them about it first. Because I'm not really sure how it goes beyond one box or scales at all, but I'm sure that they've thought about it. So, you know, one caveat is kind of the bleeding edge. Like, there are weird things, especially within React Native and that, so like, no caveat, like definitely a caveat there. But that being said, like that's the only con I found, which is if you can get that's the only con I found, then big thumbs up from me personally. So, you know, in about 30 minutes or so, we've wrote no backend code. We didn't even reference a WebSocket, and we have a native app for iOS and Android. Seems pretty cool to me. So that's it. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out on me on Twitter or my email, and I'll be around here for a little bit longer.